everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from rapidly melting Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And Dan, coming up on the show today, we're going to be talking about where and people come up with their ideas for God
Yeah.
and how weird those ideas are.
And look, next time you meet somebody who wants to tell you about God, just say, okay, what is it?
Yeah.
Because
Describe
honestly,
your God.
they don't know.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. All right.
But before that, we should tell some stories.
We shouldn't.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna interrupt this breaking news.
Okay.
To say, you and I are coming up on our
I know.
500th episode.
I know. It's
Like, this is
unbelievable.
498,
I know.
and we've got 2 weeks, and then it's the 500th, and we have planned exactly nothing. We have done nothing. We have thought of nothing. We are literally without plans. So, I don't know, kids. Do you have any ideas? Help us out. Call in, write in. I don't know. Find us on Facebook. Well, find me on Facebook. Frank's not there.
Yeah. Boo, Facebook.
Somehow get word to us what we should do. I don't know. We'll figure something. Maybe we won't. Maybe it will go, pass us by unceremoniously. But it seems like something should happen. I don't know what it is.
Well, we used to do pop a bottle of champagne or
Oh yeah, or just really try and get genuinely drunk before the show. That's a terrible idea. We could do it.
I can't.
I know, we're old now. We've been doing this show for 10 fucking years.
I know. Isn't it crazy?
Like, we're different men.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know.
All right, do the show.
Okay, Dan.
We'll just do the show.
Does the name David Archuleta mean anything to you, Dan? It may mean something to some members of the audience, but probably not all.
Do you mean vocal phenomenon David Archuleta?
Former
singing sensation David Archuleta?
He was like a runner-up, right, on American Idol back in the day, right? Like,
Was he only a runner-up?
I don't think he won. He was a finalist.
Well, then frankly, I don't see why we should even care about him.
Well, here locally, he's something of a celebrity.
Because
one
he's
of those
a Mormon
minor
boy.
celebrities. Yeah, he was a little Mormon teenager when he went on the show, and then afterwards, he went and served a mission, and that was a big deal. I remember the press covering.
Oh yeah,
David Archuleta going on a mission.
That was big news here in Utah.
And the news about David Archuleta that came out this week didn't surprise me.
Came as a shock to literally nobody.
Yes, he came out as a member of the LGBTQIA plus community.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that he doesn't specifically label his sexuality in his coming out. He just says that he's a member of the broader community.
Yeah.
He says that he did come out to his family in 2014 as gay. But later realized that he had similar feelings for both genders. So, bisexual, I guess.
Which
is
is 100% the moment that a Mormon mother goes, well, then why can't you just be straight?
Because it doesn't work that way. He also said that he has less sexual urges than most people, which I guess, would fall under the category of asexuality, maybe.
Right. That's the A in LGBTQIA.
Exactly. And he also said that his lower sex drive works for him since he plans to save himself for marriage.
Oh my, gross.
Which, if that isn't already a warning sign of things to come in this story, he says things along the lines of, you can be part of the LGBTQIA plus community and still believe in God and his gospel plan.
Gross.
Boo. Boo! You just lost
You're
me.
being a bad gay.
I was just feeling supportive of David Archuleta, and then he went and did that. Let's see. Let's see. He's struggled with his sexual identity, obviously, for quite a while. He says, I've tried for almost 20 years to change myself until I realized God made me how I am for a purpose. And instead of hating what I have considered wrong, I need to see why God loved me for who I am. And it's not just sexuality.
Can I just say something? He did not struggle, and this goes for all gay people in religion. He did not struggle with his sexuality. He struggled with the fucking bullshit institution telling him his sexuality was problematic.
Yeah.
The problem is not your sexuality, kiddo.
Yeah.
It's all of the assholes around you that you're still clinging to.
Right.
Who tell you that it's not okay.
And that is obviously, don't know if I need to mention this for the audience, but Mormons still don't really accept gay people.
No.
Now they say
literally Mormons
they do. They say they do officially inside the church, but you can't ever act on it. You can never act on it.
Right.
So
Any being gay is fine. Doing gay, well, no, that's not okay at all.
and doing gays absolutely off.
Right.
Yeah. No.
Which means that being gay is not fine and you're just liars.
Right. Exactly.
Is what that means.
You're trying to have it both ways. Well, I guess he came out on Instagram, as you do. Right. Of course.
Sure. He's
and,
of the generation that would do that.
He got a lot of support. Obviously, some people, said mean things, but generally, it sounds like it was mainly supportive comments. It says one person who posted said, "It's so important for Latter-day Saints who don't identify as straight to know that we aren't alone. And it's so important for all members to be reminded that everybody has a place in Christ's gospel."
Just don't be you.
Don't be you. You cannot be you. And that's the trick here. Like, how he must think he gets to be him in some way.
Yeah.
Right. But
yeah,
then
he's now trying to have it both ways.
yeah.
Just like the church tries to have it both ways, and it won't work, Archuleta. Come and talk to me. I'll guide. I'll hold your hand and guide you through it.
Aw. It's nice of you,
We'll be
Dan.
okay. Or talk to Frank. Frank's actually been where you're at. Anyway,
Not really. I was never like a semi-famous
no, I'm pretty sure you were.
former
No, you were a pretty famous singer for a while there. Frank, but ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know Frank's history, he was the lead singer of Flock of Seagulls. Do you remember that back in the day?
when I was 7 years old.
When you were 8. Yeah, exactly. But you had the hair. So here's an interesting story that involves two loathsome creatures. One a politician and one a religious nutball. The religious nutball in question is Steven Anderson. We've talked about him quite a bit. He's the guy that has been banned from 34 countries because of his hate speech, because
Right.
he is so awful. He has literally advocated the execution of gay people and like gleefully celebrated deaths of murdered LGBTQ people.
And he looks a lot like the lead on Lost, the doctor guy.
He looks like his like dopey brother who like was dropped on his head at birth.
Exactly.
Anyway, he got a really kind $5,500 donation recently.
Whoa.
At the beginning of the year
Really?
from none other than idiot Texas Representative Louis Gohmert.
No.
Now, if you're wondering how that works, so's everybody, including his staff, they're not wondering how it works, but here's what they're claiming. It was all a mistake. Now, to explain this mistake, what they say is that the Gohmert team had hired not Steven Anderson, but a guy named Steve Amerson from a singer, a Christian singer in California, but somehow managed to accidentally write the wrong thing. Literally on the check, they wrote Anderson Ministries. So Anderson Ministries, not Amerson.
Right.
Then they sent the check not to California, but to Arizona, where Steven Anderson's ministry is.
All of this is making a lot of sense to me.
And the check was labeled as a, quote, donation, not as payment for services.
No. I buy it. It's clearly, I mean, these things happen. Like keeping track of like where you're sent. Like, no, it's just so hard.
You can't keep track of all of the parts of the machine.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
That's hysterical. Oh my God.
Literally, the only mistake that they made was every single part of the endeavor. So it's an easy mistake to make. To just get the name, the purpose, and address incorrect.
I don't know. Sometimes there are those like mistakes that just kind of start to compile. I can see it happening.
Sure, absolutely.
You just lose track and like things.
You just keep
going down that road, and you're like, I don't even know. I don't even know how I did all that. Right.
Louis Gohmert, he's got a massive Rolodex. He just looked up Ander and the word Steven and just got the wrong one.
Well, I just good luck with this excuse, because it's like, even if you were like, oh yeah, they just looked up the wrong person, right? It's like,
right.
Well, in your Rolodex, right? Why is he in the Rolodex to begin with?
Exactly.
Right? Why is this somebody who you would think you'd be sending money to?
Right.
You obviously knew that it would be the difference between a donation and a payment because of what kind of person it is.
Oh my God.
I love it.
It's all idiotic. It's all stupid. And it just goes to show that, I mean, even if it was just Louis Gohmert's campaign hired a Christian singer, why the fuck are you doing that? Even that's wrong.
Yes,
even if their excuse is true,
right?
It's bullshit,
right? But I mean,
he very clearly intended. He thought nobody would notice if he gave $5,000 to one of the U.S.'s most notorious hate preachers.
You know what? I have a feeling, just because whatever district would actually elect Louis Gohmert in the first place, I don't think this is going to be a problem.
Oh no, this is not going to hurt him.
This might get us riled up, right?
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that his constituents down there in Texas,
he's in
Texas or something like that.
Yeah,
they don't have any problem with this at all.
No, not only that, they all think that it's part of a much larger scheme, and QAnon will be involved or something like that.
Of course.
They think this is what's going to lead to the arrests of all the all those damn pedophile liberals.
Down payment. Yeah, of some kind. Yeah. Oh boy, you heard it here first, folks.
That's right.
All right. Gretchen Whitmer, governor of Michigan.
Oh yes.
Right. Who? I mean, she seems like a pretty decent figure. She stood up to Trump and all that kind of stuff, and
which worked out great for her until somebody stormed the Capitol trying to kidnap her.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, this week she has directed the Michigan State Department to stop using any state or federal funds for conversion therapy on minors.
Oh, good. Hooray.
Her executive directive directs departments to explore what further actions can be taken to protect minors from conversion or reparative therapy. Of course, we're talking about the the supposed therapy that tries to change someone's sexual orientation.
Right,
it's
which
child
is
abuse.
which is roundly debunked by almost all the data available.
Exactly.
Says that this is not a possible thing and it's damaging to the people that are involved.
In fact, so much so damaging that people who have gone through any kind of conversion therapy, that group of people has a higher suicide rate. Almost double a typical the rest of the population.
Wow.
And it is unclear whether any state or federal funds in Michigan were paying for conversion therapy, but it's clear that this is part of an effort, especially on her part, to push the issue and to encourage the state legislature to actually pass a ban on the practice. And so this is a good thing. Thank you, Governor Whitmer.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You did a happy one, Frank.
Wait, how did that happen?
I know.
How did I let that slip through?
Nope. You did it. It's in the books. You can't take it back now. No takesies, backsies. All right. Well, I am going to try to delve a little bit into the convention of the Southern Baptist Convention.
Oh, Jesus, really?
Or SOBAP Con.
SOBAP. Oh, I was down at SOBAP.
Oh, yes. So it's SOBAP right now.
SOBAPCon.
So here's the deal. A lot has been leading up to this particular annual meeting of the Southern Baptist Convention. This is actually the first one in 2 years because last year's was canceled for COVID. So, and a lot has been bubbling up. There's been dramatically increasing pressure for the Southern Baptist Convention to actually, do anything about sexual misconduct from their pastors, which up until now, the thing that they've done is tisked and said, hey, we don't like that.
Right.
But they haven't actually done anything. And it looks like there's a lot of the same sort of thing that Catholicism does, which is if a pastor is disgraced, he just runs off to another state and starts up again.
Well, yeah, that's what you do.
Also,
it doesn't have to ruin your life.
Right? It should, and why should it?
Just
It's
because
unfair.
you ruined someone else's life doesn't mean it needs to ruin yours.
Right? Turnabout is not fair play. So anyway, there's that. And then there's been this whole big kerfuffle that we have talked about, Frank, revolving around critical race theory and race relations. Because, I don't know if you know this, but Southern Baptists aren't always great on race.
Yeah.
And usually, there are plenty of black Southern Baptist congregations, but the fact that you can say that there's a black congregation and a white congregation means that there's still a problem. And also, with George Floyd's murder, the dial got turned up to 11. And so literally what's been happening is that there have been factions that are now at war within the Southern Baptist Convention. There's a rabid conservative right that is trying to literally get back to like Jesus's time, where they believe in complementarianism, which is basically just women shut up, men are in charge.
Right.
It's a really nice way of saying it, though. Doesn't that sound nice? Complementarianism?
You're like, yeah.
It means the sexes complement each other. Like, he's
isn't that
in charge,
nice?
and she just shuts the hell up and does whatever she's told. And that's the compliment.
It's biblical, Dan.
Yeah.
It's biblical.
And also,
how can you argue with it? It's
and
in the
also-
Bible.
It is in the Bible. That's correct. And that's their argument, is that these liberals have been pushing us away from the Bible. Also in the Bible is plenty about everybody sort of keeping to their own group, which is why they don't like critical race theory at all. And we reported that the Southern Baptist Seminary convention leaders, I don't know who they are. They wrote a big paper saying they were against that critical race theory was incompatible with their religion, but others have been fighting for better race relations, just a better approach to race in general. There's this guy named Mike Stone, who was in the running to be the president of the Southern Baptist Convention. He's the president of the Conservative Baptist Network, and he was kind of the odds-on front runner for it. But in the midst of all of this stuff, we talked about a woman named Beth Moore, who was a very popular Bible teacher who then left the Southern Baptist Convention, citing all of the bullshit with the gender stuff and the race stuff and all that sort of thing. And also citing their support for Trump, which she rightly pointed out, that's not like, they shouldn't be like so political. They should be about letting people anyway. And then a guy named Russell Moore, who was the head of he was the chief ethicist of the Southern Baptist Convention, left. He resigned, and then there were some leaked letters and audio from him where he was like, "You guys, we actually have to do ethics at some point if you want an ethicist." And they were all like, "Nah, we probably don't like that." We're
religion. We don't need ethics.
Right, exactly. So this has been a boil. This has all like bubbled into a full-on boil of like, who's going to be in charge? Who's going to, will the extreme right be in charge? Will the people pushing for stronger, a pull towards compassion, a pull towards, those things that Jesus talked about that leftists like to do? Well, it turns out that in an upset, Ed Litton, who is he's almost an unknown guy. Like, nobody even knows who this guy is, but has been working, like, his big focus for the last several years has been on sort of race reconciliation and like making sure that just trying to get the races to understand each other and whatever, and actually like fighting for some racial justice. He's now the president.
What?
He won.
No.
He got a little more than a third of the votes. Stone, who was the other guy, Mike Stone, who was the extreme conservative guy, got almost a third of the votes, but little less than this guy. And then another guy got almost a quarter, and then another guy. Anyway,
wow.
So Ed Litton is the new head, and that's interesting to me. I don't know. I'm going to just sit here and hope that means that the trend line for our society might slowly be turning around. I don't know. I just need hope right now. So that's what I'm going to use that as.
Well, I don't want to burst any bubbles.
Yes, you do.
I think the trend line has led us to a crazy place. I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. And in fact, all this, I mean, I don't know what the inner workings of SoBapCon really are, but I would say skiz.
I think there might be a skiz. I think they might.
I think because when things get a little too, liberal for the conservatives, they always have to skiz. That's how it works.
I think and when things get too conservative for the liberals, they also skiz. I mean, they're just following in the footsteps of the Lutherans, I guess. We'll see. I'm hoping for skizzes all over the place. I think skizzing is going to happen a lot.
Oh, I
in the
love
upcoming-
a good skiz. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
like, and it's been too long, to be honest.
yeah. We need another. We need another. I think I'm waiting for the Mormon schism. That's still coming.
Oh, that will be just delightful if it ever
Yeah.
happens. Like, I believe it will happen. I hope it will happen.
It'll happen, and it will be ugly.
Oh, it's gonna be beautiful. All right, I've got another governor story.
Oh, you are Mr. Governor right now.
This time, not so good. This is Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida.
Florida.
Yeah.
He's fancy.
He just signed a new bill into law. This is
That is-
law, people.
Can I just say that the phrase, the sentence "Ron DeSantis just signed a new bill into law" is never a good thing.
No. And this one
you
is
never will. I'm not. I know that I'm not going to be celebrating when you say that.
No. So this new law actually requires, this is not allows, this is requires, that each public school in the state of Florida will require teachers in the first period classrooms in all grades to set aside at least 1 minute, but not more than 2 minutes daily for a moment of silence. Let that just sink in for a second. Obviously, they would much rather have had prayer reinstituted into the schools.
That's what they're trying to do.
Yes.
It's like, this is all you kids are supposed to pray.
Right.
You got 1 minute, get a prayer in.
However, teachers are not allowed to make suggestions onto the nature of any child's reflection during the period of time. They are saying that it is a period of silent prayer or meditation. And it was optional up to this point in the state of Florida. They were suggesting it. Apparently, it did not
heavily.
Did not get around and get practiced to their satisfaction over at the state legislature and governor's mansion or whatever. And so they're fixing this problem. And so according to DeSantis, he says it's important to be able to provide each student the ability each day to reflect and be able to pray as they see fit, because they couldn't possibly do that outside of school time.
Right.
It is
You can't do that
impossible
before you get to school. You certainly can't do it after.
Yeah.
There's just no possible way.
Yeah.
I love this. Here's the thing. I love this idea because no kid, like, there is going to be one kid who like who's very dutiful young kid who's going to pray every day, and they're going to use that for it. Everybody else is just going to doodle or be bored or whatever. Okay, listeners in Florida, and I know we have a bunch. If you have a kid in school, probably in high school, because this is this is way too ballsy for a young kid, but what you should tell them to do is right at the end of the minute or somewhere toward, just sit there, do a prayer, because here's what I anticipate. Eventually, kids will start saying amen, and that'll be the virtue signaling or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So beat them to the punch and just out loud but quietly to themselves have them say, "Hail Satan."
Oh, God.
Just because it'll be enough that they'll change the law next year. Just at the very end, just every time. See if they can get their friends involved. See if they can get every classroom to start just saying "Hail Satan" just sort of at the end of the minute.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's not good.
At least it's it really is just a moment of silence. They know they can't do more, so it's really pretty harmless. I don't see a lot of harm coming from this.
I have a problem with silence. I do not
Silence
care for
is-
it.
Yeah.
I will
All
not
right.
abide it. I do not allow it in my house.
This is dead air. I'm not doing it. All right. Well, Aladdin had a magic carpet,
Oh boy.
and now the Arab world has a new version of that. It is the e-prayer rug.
What?
As you know, Muslims are required to pray 5 times a day,
Uh-oh.
facing eastward, and frequently they have a rug for this purpose.
Does the prayer, or does the rug do the praying for you?
No,
Oh,
it
because
should.
That would be good. Yeah.
That would be a lot better. You just take a quick nap. The rug does all of the work.
You crawl up on
No.
your carpet square. Yeah.
That's right. No, this rug has a little, you've got the rug part, and then at the front of it, it kind of flips up, and it's got this is the Sajda e-rug, and basically it reminds you what the words are to the prayers, and then has a little display to show you what the motions are, because they got a whole head, shoulders, knees, and toes thing going on that they've got to do.
What kind of terrible Muslim are you that you need this thing? Like, I thought they know this. That this is like just.
Well,
they know it by heart, right? Like,
I mean,
or
one of
unless
the
you're
pictures.
a new convert, is that what it's for?
Maybe
Like,
one of the
I just
pictures
don't
shows
know
a
how to
child
pray. Okay.
doing it, and then this is a good point. They say it's good for people with Alzheimer's, or people with dementia who
don't
might be
even know
forgetting.
they're praying.
Right, exactly.
Allah still requires those who are not capable of having the awareness of prayer, but you're
Right.
still required to pray.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, Grandma.
Get on the rug. Anyway, it's the latest in prayer technology from Sajda, your provider of all of the best. By the way, tell me about what you think of this. Sajda, I don't know how to say it,
Okay.
has a logo.
Okay.
Are they allowed to do that? It's an image. It's a picture.
like I don't know.
It's it's got their name below it, but it's got a little.
You would think it would
little
be
sort
some
of-
sort of Arabic scrawl.
It's
that looks
not
pretty.
that though. It's
No?
I think it's meant to sort of be kind of an onion dome. It's meant to represent an onion dome, and then it's got 3 figures, like just sort of stick figures, balls, with the center one just has a line coming down, and then 2 that look like they're bending over. It's just.
I mean, as
it's
long
abstract.
as long as it's not the Prophet Muhammad, right?
How do we know it's not?
I think it probably is, and we should
think
probably
it's
write
him.
in. We should probably write in and be like, "Excuse me, I'm pretty sure you put the Prophet Muhammad
You
on
put
your
an
logo,
image.
and we're gonna fatwa you." Just so
You
you
put
know.
an image of the Prophet, peace be upon him. You guys are fatwad. You guys are jihaded. We're jihading you. All right. Well, there you go. If you would like to jihad us for anything, please
don't. Please don't.
don't do that. Don't do that.
I do not want to
just
jihad.
anyway, write into us. Instead of jihading us, just tell us what your problem is by writing into us podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. We have some voicemails and some emails coming right up. Hey, Dan.
Yes.
Now is the time on the show
On sprockets when we dance.
when we get to listen to a deranged lunatic from the religious right talk to us about
Yeah,
something stupid.
This is a pastor who goes by the name of Shane Vaughn and looks for all the world like Jerry Lewis's dumb younger brother. And he's got a warning for all of us, because let me tell you something. The United States is, if you think that the US is doing okay, you got another thing coming, because we are North Korea, and he's going to tell you how.
Oh no.
They want to make illegal, and they have in North Korea, any messaging that is out of sync with what the government is saying. It is a huge deal. Why? Because somebody said, well, that will never happen in America. It already is. Control the way the people think, and then make those that think contrary to the masses, belittle them to such a place to where they're all a bunch of freaks. They're all a bunch of fringe people. Do that and then kill them. They brought fear to those citizens that watched that man get shot and killed, and yet every day in America, YouTube, Facebook, and all of the others, which are agents of the state, do the same thing. They kill those that bring in foreign information that doesn't line up with what the government agrees with. Any reactionary thought to what the government tells you is good for you, in North Korea, they line you up and shoot you. Oh, in America, they don't do that? Really? Do you not know that the best way to kill somebody is to shut them up? To destroy their influence? Destroy their voice? Destroy their credibility? That's all you have to do. It's the same thing. They shoot them in North Korea and they kill them in America. This is why any infringement on free speech in this nation must be fought against at every level. Every level. We must push back against any infringement on free speech. This man was killed last week. I have friends in social media that was killed. You know how you kill them now? You don't take out a bullet. No. You pull their account. You know how they killed President Donald Trump? They didn't pull a bullet through him. They did something worse. They destroyed his ability to speak. You better wake up. You better see how North Korea is no different than the United States of America under its current administration.
I mean,
wow. That is a harrowing warning.
I know. I mean, nobody's allowed to say anything anymore. Clearly.
Right.
Clearly.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the word that we get constantly from these far-right people on their widely viewed shows that they love to go on. Tucker Carlson on his hugely rated program will tell you all about how conservatives aren't allowed to speak anymore.
Oh my God. And that it's equivalent to being killed, even if it were true, right? But
right,
which it's not.
Right.
But like that it's just like being killed. And they didn't have to assassinate Trump.
You don't take out a bullet. You just oh my God.
It's really amazing.
I love here's what I love. I love that the government he claimed that Twitter and the social media platforms are actually the government.
Yeah.
Yeah. When was Donald Trump banned from Twitter?
Yeah, no kidding.
That happened when he was the government.
Yep.
How did that? Yeah, okay. Anyway.
No, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Clearly.
All it makes is sense. That's
And I will say he does actually sound like he might be Jerry Lewis's younger brother as well. Like Southern younger brother.
Yeah.
Like he just needs to come out with a lady or whatever.
Yeah, if every now and then he was just like, and this is just like South Korea's Hagen device. It's the same.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
All right, we had some folks write into us, call into us, so I'm going to dive on in here. This is from Elise, a.k.a. Dr. H. Dr. H writes, Dear Frank and Dan, I'm writing to add my 2 cents to the discussion of education and critical thinking. As a university professor, I am deeply committed to helping my students develop analytical skills that are vital to personal development, social awareness, and responsible citizenship. AKA, she's a pinko commie is what she is. I share the tools and encourage the practice of critical thinking, and this is an objective I share with all my colleagues throughout the university, or at least is a mandate because I'm not in everyone's classroom and some professors are better than others. In this context, I was troubled by recent caller Donnie's lauding of the hard sciences over social sciences. One can learn the scientific method and still be racist, sexist, classist, homophobic, ableist, or support many other ills. One can study chemistry or physics and be an atheist and yet argue the poor just aren't pulling themselves up by their own bootstraps. And many of us know doctors, MDs, who pray to Jesus before performing surgery, or at least every Sunday. This is to say that Donnie may have had some poor sociology or psychology professors, but the social sciences offer vital critical thinking skills in courses from psychosexual development to social deviance. And this is all the more important to state because I am a professor in the humanities.
Oh, no.
I teach... Oh, come on. Yeah, no, I teach courses in film studies and literature that absolutely emphasizes critical thinking. From my offerings on Holocaust survivor literature to women, immigrants, and the American dream, vital to my courses in the English department are the way literature can hit you both in the head and the heart, and at best producing an emotionally connected, critical response that can shape views of self and world in powerful ways. So thank you very much for that, Elise. Dr. H. I'll just go ahead and trust you that you're doing the Lord's work out there. I'm sure you are. So that's great.
Oh, wonderful.
Should we do a voicemail?
Yes. We have a caller who's responding to a story I think we did last week about the new chicken sandwiches that are hitting the market. And in response,
right. We were talking about
to
Chick-fil-A.
So she calls in on that topic.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank and Dan. This is Chantel. I have been loving the show for about 1.5 years now, and I just want to say I have tried all of the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich knockoffs, and the Burger King one is the best. I recommend the spicy chicken sandwich. Enjoy. Bye.
Well, there you go, Elise. Thanks for that.
Yes.
I tend not to like Burger King, but I'm willing to give their chicken a try.
Oh, the flame broiled, Dan.
Well, and also, if they're still donating to what was it, the HRC or whatever?
Yeah. Absolutely. Go buy a chicken sandwich. Also, no, we are not getting paid for plugging.
Right?
Fucking Burger King.
Why aren't we getting paid? Burger King, give us money. God damn it.
We're literally just talking about it. It sounds like product placement. It's not.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Frank and Dan. This is from this is an unsigned email. I don't know that that's on purpose, but it is. Anyway, hi, Frank and Dan and podcast listeners. Oh, that's nice. Addressing the other listeners.
Hey, everybody.
Did last week's episode about Greg Abbott's ridiculous abortion restrictions absolutely piss you off like it did me? Well, one thing that can help is the Satanic Temple's religious reproductive rights campaign.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of listeners are members of the Satanic Temple or aware of it, but I just wanted to put it out there as a friendly reminder. The Satanic Temple may be able to help you circumvent some of the unjust restrictions states put on women for daring to have their own bodily autonomy. One campaign the Satanic Temple did was sending Greg Abbott religious abortion ritual cards, but it looks like it's no longer available in their shop. However, I'm sure you can contribute towards the Satanic Temple's legal fund and send Greg Abbott a satanic postcard, letting him know that we will not stand for his bullshit. Let's do the devil's work and make abortion available to all women who need one. I think that's great. I so far, see, here's the thing. I don't like endorsing organizations because, you know, they can change, and Satanic Temple's a relatively new organization, and I don't fully trust them yet. I don't know what it takes for me, but so far they have done good work out in the world. They are a strong and awesome organization. If you don't know about them, look into them, and give them your money. I think they're
worthy of it.
They're out on the front lines.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do another voicemail.
Yeah, okay. This caller has a question for us about street preachers.
Oh,
and kind of like what's going on there. What's up with street preachers?
What's the deal with those? All right, here we go.
Hey, Frank and Dan. This is Autumn from Alabama. In the Bible Belt, some towns have more churches than anything else, so you might run into a pastor now and then. Like in college, you'll have that guy outside preaching and trying to get everybody to go to church and stuff like that. So for a college town around here, that makes sense because people believe that you go to college to become liberal and you lose your faith and stuff. But I also run into them sometimes out and about. Earlier today, there was one at a gas station. No one was really listening to him or anything, but my question is, why do you think that they do that specifically around here? Like in Alabama, it's one of the most religious states in the country. If they were really being sincere about it, wouldn't they go places that there are not very many believers? It just strikes me as really like performative and looking for some pushback. Do they do that in Utah also? Anyway, thank you guys for doing the show. I'm always looking forward to a new episode. Take care, y'all.
I think that's a great question.
Yeah.
And I actually have some theories on this that are supported by nothing but my own brain.
Okay. What's your
So don't think that I'm basing this on any kind of actual anything. But I don't think that the point is to actually get conversions.
Oh?
I don't think that's the point of Mormon missionaries. I don't think that is the point of the Jehovah's Witnesses in the subway. I don't think that's the point of any of it. If they get someone converting, that is shocking. That's like they are screaming. But that's not what they're out there for. What they're out there for is the psychological trick of being rejected by society.
Yeah.
Because it plays so well into their persecution narrative and into their narrative that the world is wicked and that they are good. And so they go out into the world and they preach to people who already have heard the fucking word and have either accepted or rejected it one way or t'other. But everyone that's rejected it, if they grumpily say, "Please leave me alone," that is confirmation that Satan is out there, and they have an enemy, and the world is wicked and evil, and they are the good ones.
Right.
And then they come back to their loving, embracing group on Sunday, and it just psychologically cements everything.
Yeah. I would also add to that there's a lot of power in repeating things out loud, right? That like the more you hear yourself say, that you believe in Jesus, the more you kind of believe it yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's a huge part. I know that's a huge part of like sending 19-year-old young men and women now, or 20-year-old women, as Mormon missionaries out into the world. Right. But it's to try their darndest to hold on to the next generation. That's why Mormons do it. Right. Because the kids get out there and it's like the ultimate brainwashing technique. And I would bet that for a lot of these street preachers, they might be having their own doubts. Right. And they might be having their own little weirdo struggles. And getting out on a street corner or a gas station. God.
Jesus, that is bleak. Like a gas station in Alabama. Someone's just trying to go, "Please love Jesus, please." That is some sad shit right there.
Yeah. And to answer the question of whether we have that style of preacher at gas stations in Utah, no,
Oh, thank God we don't. It is so good.
Mormons don't do that kind of. They don't do
Yeah.
that. They go door to door, right?
They go door to door.
They be crazy. They go do their crazy by knocking on doors.
Yeah.
Oh
man.
And apparently in Alabama they do their crazy by preaching at gas stations.
So sad.
Oh.
It's just the saddest thought in the world.
But it both equally crazy in my opinion.
Just
I
next
was
time you
that.
pass,
I
next
was the
time you
Mormon
pass
version
by,
of that. So
yeah, next time you pass by a preacher out in a sad spot like that, just give them your change.
yeah.
Just act like they need help, because they do.
I will also say that there's power in, as this is speaking as a former Mormon missionary, there's power in shared humiliating experiences,
Right.
right? These fellow missionaries are your comrades in arms, right? These are the people that you're going, and there are humiliating experiences, that the pressures of being a Mormon missionary, you end up doing these things I look back on and just like cringe at just how wretched some of the experiences were, especially in retrospect. We're just like, oh my God, what the fuck? How did I get wrapped up in that? Except for the fact that I was born into it and pushed out onto it and everything. But again, I think it would probably be the same thing for any kind of street preacher, that they have other people that do the same thing, and it helps them gel as a community.
And when you come back to your congregation or to your people and you say, hey, they were mean to me, they were horrible, it's a wicked world out there, and then they all say, yeah, I had a similar experience. Man, aren't we glad that we're here together? Let's hug. Let's praise Jesus together.
Yeah, you can't believe what happened to me at the Piggly Wiggly. You know,
I was over to the Shell station. You have no idea.
Barbara was at the Piggly Wiggly.
Oh, Lord. All right. One more question. We're halfway through June, which around these parts is supposed to be Pride Month for the LGBTQ plus community. And Ashby has a question. Hello, Frank and Dan. I have a few questions. It's primarily for Frank, but I'm interested in what you both of you think about this topic. For context, I am a cis straight white male.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, I ordered a grab box on evolvefish.com. One of the items included was a pride flag that says peace across it. It's a very cool item, but it has been sitting on my bookshelf for 2 years. Earlier this week, I realized I should hang it. It's Pride Month. We already have one of those holders in our house. I just need a poles. I go to Home Depot and buy it and hang the flag. And then I start thinking, is it okay for me to hang this even though I'm not gay? I looked it up online and found an article written by a black trans woman that there are two kinds of allies that actually do things. Two kinds of allies. Those that actually do things by donating to HRC and other organizations, giving directly to members of that community, etc., and those that adopt the flag but don't really do much else. Ashby goes on, I have donated to HRC. I wholeheartedly support the LGBTQ plus community. We have a good amount of people in our lives who are in that group, and I hung the flag to show my and my wife's support for them. I figured hanging it is better than it being folded on my bookshelf. Am I wrong? Well, Frank, take it away.
Well, I mean, who am I to tell a white heterosexual male what to do?
That's right. That's right. You shut up.
You guys get to do whatever you want. So
that's right. A privileged person is talking. Hush. Let me expound on this.
No, I think personally, I think it's huge to see the flags everywhere in the month of June. And I drive around a lot for work, and I'm out in the suburbs a bit, and it always surprises me, and it also always makes me feel good when I see a flag in a part of the city or suburbs that I just wouldn't expect it. So
Yeah, just think about
Yeah,
the gay kid in your neighborhood who thinks he's alone, who
Yeah.
thinks that no one out there cares.
Yeah.
because he's being raised by some, conservative Christian parents or whatever.
I mean, there might be a little bit of virtue signaling with it. I don't know if that's. I don't know. For some people,
signal virtue.
Then I on this one, I think it absolutely please fly it. I think it's a great thing, and I think the point of the article that you found where it's like, there's two different kinds of allies. Yeah, it's probably true, but I'll take all the allies that I can get. Right. Like why am I going to try to make some allies feel bad for the allyship that they're willing to give, right? Like that just doesn't make sense to me. So,
and flying a flag is not nothing. Depending on your neighborhood, it can mean the world.
Yeah, I know a guy who's out in the middle of a really nice neighborhood in Sandy, and he had a guy who literally stopped in his big truck out in front of his house when he has his two pride flags, and he ends up having to go out because the guy is just out there staring at his house for so long, and he ends up confronting him, and he films a video of the conversation and everything of what are you doing, right? And I think he handled it actually pretty well, but yeah, it is, in some areas you're making a statement. And I think that it can be a really powerful one. And then in the areas where it's easy just to fly a flag, those areas, I think it has to just make members of the community. Well, I can only speak for myself. It makes me feel good, to drive through an area and there's just pride flags everywhere. My neighborhood, I'm pretty lucky. There's flags everywhere in this neighborhood, right? And it's awesome. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel welcomed, so.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, do we have some folks to thank?
We do, Dan. We have 2 new patrons over on Patreon. We have a new deacon by the name of Nick. So
Nick.
Thank you, Nick. And we have a new priest by the name of Keith.
Wow.
So thank you, Keith. And if you'd like to join these 2 in their support of the show, you can do so. You just go over to thankgodimatheist.com, click on the support tab.
Yeah.
And it gives you
I'm going to remind our listeners, we are entirely listener supported.
Yeah,
this
that's
is
true.
the only way that we get any money for this thing. So if you like the show, if it's something that you feel like you want to support, this is the way you do it. This, or you give us a 5-star review.
Yeah, we take 5-star reviews.
And you're allowed to do both. You're just totally allowed to do both. You can do the 5-star review and give us money. It's that would be awesome.
Yeah. And as I was saying, there's 2 different ways you can go. You can go PayPal, you can go Patreon, and we super appreciate any and all of the support. And as always, Dan, we have our top donor to thank, our Lord and Savior, but we got something to say, because there is Austin, but tied is Demonium.
Whoa! We have a tie
We have a tie.
we are in a double deity situation here, people.
Know. Yeah, I know, Dan. How do you do this? Rivals?
No, they are they are partners in crime.
Oh, wonderful.
They are co-lords and saviors, and blessings are upon both of them. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, guys. Dan.
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh, God is he's everywhere, right? He's everywhere these days, Dan.
He's everywhere and nowhere. He is all things and he is nothing.
Oh my God. That makes so much sense to me right now.
Right?
I'm also high. So
Right, exactly. Well, so what launched the idea for this topic is that Rachel Held Evans, who was a very popular Christian author, passed away a while ago,
Okay.
a couple of years ago, I think.
Okay.
But before she died, she had been working on some children's books, and they've just released one of her children's books.
Oh.
And the children's book is called What Is God Like? And the cover has this cute little kid writing inexplicably on a narwhal. And
Is the narwhal God?
Yeah, exactly. Staring up into space. So the question is, yes, it's a good question. What is God like? And I can see why you would want to sort of help children conceptualize this being, because it might be a tricky concept to understand.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no kidding. Like, there's this thing that nobody's ever seen,
right.
that created everything.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
literally, nobody's ever seen it is part of the conceit of the thing. So I'm going to read some passages from the book.
Oh, no.
Just because I think we all need to know what it says.
You don't have a copy, do you?
No. I'm looking on Amazon's. It gives you some sneak peeks into the pages.
Okay,
so,
fair enough.
and by the way, I hate the illustrations on this thing. They don't make any sense.
Okay.
The kid's riding a narwhal, and then they're floating in space inexplicably, and that anyway. So what is God like? That's a very big question, one that people from places all around the world have wondered about since the beginning of time. Well, that's just not true. And while nobody has seen all of God, because God is far too big for any of us to fully see, we can know what God is like. Now, if you were going to tell me how to figure out how to tell a child what God is like, this is not how I would open. Evans's opening gambit is, God is like an eagle, sharp-eyed and swift, with wings so wide you can play under their shadows.
Okay.
God is like a river, constant and life-giving. When you grow near God, you'll sprout up strong as a tree.
I'm already confused.
This is baffling to me. I am a grown person who understands metaphor pretty decent. I'm not a dumb guy. I'm a relatively smart person. But oh my God, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Then there are some pages of just kids frolicking and literally hugging a tree at one point. There's an otter for some reason.
God's like an otter.
Some kids playing with some sheep, and then God, stay with me here, people. We can do this together. God is like the stars, forever present and bright. Even when they feel far away, you can always look up and see them winking at you.
Oh, God.
Now, can anyone see any problem with telling kids you can always look up and see stars? Because I can see the sky right now through my window, and it's daylight. There's no stars.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I think
anyway,
you gotta go with her on that one, right? Like,
okay, fine.
because, like, okay, sure, you can't see stars in the middle of the day, but God is like the stars, and He winks at you. Like, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
How is any of this helpful in conceptualizing the tyrant of the Bible?
Well,
the grand
better this than biblical God.
Right.
Right.
Well,
like,
that's the big problem, right? Is that you can't really teach. I mean, they tell the kids the stories of God murdering everyone on the earth other than those 7 people in a boat.
Yeah.
And we're all supposed to be like, oh yeah, like kids are supposed to go, yeah, that sounds right.
Well, but it's told to you by your parents and smiling teachers, and and it's like, and everybody around you just kind of believes it and has no problem with it. So
Right.
that idea just must not be a bad thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like global genocide.
I'll
right?
just take it on face value that everyone but 7 people were wicked.
Right.
Quote unquote wicked.
Yeah. Well, everybody is a sinner. I mean, that's easy, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Except those 7.
except those 7, I guess.
It's just, but the whole point of the whole thought process, the thought experiment of actually conceptualizing God, it's kind of one that they don't run. They don't actually do I've been to plenty of churches, and at no time has anyone ever said to the congregation, let's really try and dig down and figure out who this God character is.
Well, the thing that like was sort of baffling to me growing up Mormon, where you do believe that God is like a man, right? Literally the figure of a man, right?
Yes.
With body and everything.
Right.
It kind of blew my mind that like other Christians have this more sort of nebulous idea of God, right? Yeah. Not corporeal, right? Corporeal or whatever. And sort of more sort of wispy and magical or whatever. I don't know. And like that blew my mind. I was like, well, that's not God. That's like crazy town.
Yeah.
Right. And so like if you are sort of mainline Christian and you don't believe in like the Mormon God, teaching a kid about that is really hard. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's clearly what she's trying to address. But then it's like, God's a kitty cat, you know?
Yeah. God is a rainbow. God is
no, he's not a rainbow. Let's make sure
They stole it.
we're clear on that one. God is not a rainbow.
Yeah, at this point.
God is not a rainbow.
That is, oh my God. Can I just say though, I equate this to, and I'm about to piss off a few of our listeners. This is the same as everyone that I know who is quote unquote spiritual. Because every time I ask somebody, okay, well, tell me about spiritual. What does that mean? What do you mean by that? Well, I don't know. I mean, it means I'm connected to the universe and it means blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's no there. There's just a bunch of platitudes, and it eventually ends up unraveling if you dig deep enough. And eventually you get to, well, it's just the mystery of the universe. And I feel like it's the same thing. Eventually, like you're not allowed to dig any deeper than X.
Yeah, that's true. You're not.
Because there's nothing there.
Right.
Because once you like push it to its logical conclusion, it disappears on you. So anyway,
yeah.
I don't know.
God.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, if you read the Bible, you know God is a dude. God is just a petulant asshole who like doesn't have anything figured out, keeps messing up, and then like every now and then he actually apologizes. That's what the rainbow was supposed to be. God himself like apologizing for like killing everybody.
Right.
I mean, the whole thing, he literally is a character. He is a person who is awful and just trying to make his way out there in the universe with these weirdo things he created. That's what
makes
I've
me
come
think
to.
of that. Who's the singer? What if God was one of us?
I don't know. Is that Amy Grant? Something like that?
Just a slob like one of us.
God is one of us, and it's the saddest thing I can imagine.
Oh, golly gee. All right.
Well, there you go. If you have a concept of God that you would like to share with us, or if you want to tell me why my theory about us being spiritual is so wrong, please feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, hey, go to the Facebook page and click the like button, will ya? It's easy. It's just facebook.com/TGIAtheist. That's not hard.
And if you'd like to join one of our 2 members-only lounges, we have one on Facebook and we have one on Discord. Please go to thankgodimatheist.com/members-only, and there's links that will get you to where you need to be.
Yep. Hey, thanks so much to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their fine music.
And thanks to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
And thanks to all of you, friends, for tuning in.
Bye-bye. The line was, I just don't have time for a jihad at the moment. I have too much going on. I don't have time for a jihad.
I can't make the time for this.
Could we reschedule this, please?
You guys, honestly, I would.
You picked a hell of a day for a jihad.